to about 120 less than their average, 13 points less. Talk about the play of your defense tonight.
13 points less, but even one of those, they scored with the defense not even on the field, with giving up the kickoff when the kickoff unit was on there to the kickoff return for a touchdown. I thought the defense, early in the game, they were going quick. They got us on our heels. They converted some big third downs. I thought they had a nice little scheme with what they were doing, and but I think what we kept talking to our players about, just keep competing. And in the second half, I thought they came out and honestly dominated. I thought in the second half they dominated that offense, and I thought they really did a nice job. It would have been real easy to say we're reeling. We gave up a touchdown, a big play punt return, and a touchdown right at the end. I was kind of hoping we could get some points out of it coming back, but I think they went in the locker room with some momentum at halftime. We told our players, it's nothing, 30-minute game. Let's eliminate the penalties. I promise I think the officials got paid by yards tonight with as many handkerchiefs that were on the ground. There were way too many penalties. We averaged about 45 yards of penalties a game. We had 109 yards of penalties in the first half. I thought we just talked about we got to kind of put a lid on some of the foolish penalties, eliminate some of that. Our players competed, played hard. They never quit. They just kept believing. But proud of the defense and what they were able to do in the second half.
Skip, you guys didn't turn the ball over against a team that has been really good at doing that. Describe just kind of how important you guys thought that was and how you were able to keep it away from them.
They are number one in the country in interceptions with 26, and number one in the country in in turnovers, and number one in the country in defensive touchdowns. And we talked a lot about that since we had our final game of the year. We turned the ball over 7 times, which I've never even heard of before in a football game, but we did it in the last game of the year, and I think all that was motivation. We talked to our football team about winning the turnover battle tonight, and I think that's one of the things that Arkansas State has done such a great job of. And we took our season in review, and in our 8 wins, we were even or won the turnover battle, and in our 4 losses, we had lost the turnover battle. And I told them, if you want to win, there's the formula. The formula is on the board. There's the formula. You want to win, you got to go out and do it. And this win goes to a group of seniors who led this football team, who earned it, who are incredibly unselfish, who just have an incredible brotherhood, fraternity. And they went out, and you tell them what to do. This is a team. They say average players don't want to be coached. Good players want to be coached. And great players want to be told the truth. This group is the type of group, you tell them the truth. You put it out on the table, and they respond, and they did that tonight.
Coach, here in the back, on Kenneth Dixon's touchdown run where he eclipsed Keenan Reynolds, he didn't have numbers on the front of his jersey. Just what did you think of that moment, and is that kind of symbolic of his running style and what he can do for this team?
It's definitely symbolic of his attitude, his unselfish attitude. I've told the players before, they're lucky I give them numbers. I just put RB or QB or LB, or they just need to know their position. But it's incredibly symbolic, because here's 3 of the most humblest young men I think I've ever had the opportunity to coach. And Kenneth Dixon's the guy that gets just as excited when somebody else scores as when he does. And I say, when you hear what he's saying up here, they're not words. I mean, he's a little bit embarrassed, but for a guy that gets embarrassed in front of cameras or talking about himself, he certainly doesn't get embarrassed in front of a group of people when he goes out on that football field. Great, incredible attitude, incredible passion to play the game, incredible talent, and you put them all together, and he's pretty special. I would have loved to see what this season could have been had he been able to play the whole thing healthy, because when he injured his ankle halfway through the season, he probably should have missed 4 or 5 games, but you can't keep him out. He just wants to keep playing and wants to keep in the game. And, this is a symbolic part. He sets the record, and he may lose it by 1. And there was a couple weeks ago, we had a senior running back, Blake Martin, who was in the game, and we were on the goal line late. And I said, Kenneth, you want to go in and get it? He said, no, sir. Blake's been hurt all year and doesn't have one. Let him have this one. And if he loses it by 1, it won't bother him a bit. he would have done the same thing again and let Blake Martin have it. And that's the type of attitude that he has, and that's why I've had such joy in coaching people like Kenneth Dixon.
Coach, right here on your right. I was wondering if you could just speak briefly about, I know that it's nice to get the win in the bowl game just to kind of wash the taste out of your mouth from the Southern Miss game, but sort of what this kind of dominant win means in terms of the kind of guys you can get in to replace all the seniors you're losing and what it means going forward for next season.
Well, I think these seniors, and there's some very talented seniors up here in front of this football team that are going to be walking out the door, and it's going to be incredibly difficult to replace them. As we say all the time, every football team has a life expectancy of 1 year. And we had a long talk last night that the 2015 Bulldogs right now have a life expectancy of 1 game. Of 24 hours is all we have left together to put it together. And I think the way these guys led it is an incredible role model. I definitely think it helps in recruiting to show the success and the consistency that we're trying to build. But I also think they've been an incredible role model to these young players. And I think that the success that they've had here will go on for a long time, because it's easy when you can say to some of these freshmen that are playing, why can't you be more like Jeff Driscoll? Why can't you be more like Kenneth Dixon? Because they set the bar incredibly high.
Coach in the front, is this the perfect way for KD to go out with the accomplishments, team win, going out on top after his senior year?
Yes, it is. He's had a lot of adversity here. I know our second year here, our first year here, his second year in college, he was injured a lot, had one knee, then the other knee. I think the way he battled through that adversity, the way he battled through this injury that he's had, this high ankle injury that he had all year, second half of the season, for what he's done to this school, for what he's meant to this school. People are going to be talking for a long time about Kenneth Dixon at Louisiana Tech, because even though this is the last time he's going to put that helmet on, I think we're going to get to see him for a long time still wearing the helmet and playing this great game that he loves so much.
We'll do 2 more questions. Coach, back here, back left.
Thank you.
You look at Trent Taylor. He's a junior. He comes back next year. You've got a lot of juniors on this team coming back. When you look at a guy like Trent Taylor and what he's been able to do on the field and off the field as a leader, do you feel like your team's in good hands?
Yeah, when you look at Trent Taylor's not tall enough, he's not fast enough, he's not big enough to do what he goes out there to do, but yet I think that son of a gun is one of the best competitors on the field each and every week, and I don't care who we play. He's an unbelievable competitor. He can change direction. He's smart. He competes. He's got energy. He leads as a junior. When you take guys like him, you take guys like Xavier Woods. You start looking at guys coming back like Cooper and Jalen Ferguson, who was a freshman All-American, and Deldrick Canty and Aaron Brown. And you look at, you've got Darrell Brown, you've got your centers back and Mahaffey. The young running backs that are out there, Trent Taylor, there's still a really good nucleus coming back on this football team. And I think guys like Trent Taylor will definitely be leaders. I don't know that this senior class will ever be duplicated, but it certainly gives us a bar to shoot for. And we talked at the beginning of the season that we had very lofty goals with what we wanted to do. And we don't apologize for those lofty goals, and we didn't accomplish all of them. But as I tell the team, when you shoot for the stars and you hit the moon, did you really fail? When you wanted more, but you look at what these guys accomplished. I'm really proud of what they were able to do in the adversity they were able to fight through. And you go out in that game, and somebody asked a question about what did we see on film. They play a lot of man coverage. Their mindset's, we're going to stop the run. We're going to load the box, and we're going to stop the run, and we're not going to let you run it. We're going to make you throw it. And we challenged our receivers and said you would have one-on-one opportunities. Jeff Driscoll was 425 yards away from 4,000. That was a challenge that we wanted to get for him tonight, the 4,000-yard mark for what he's meant to this program, and for him to be able to throw for 450, because I said it at the end. I was ready to throw it again at the end if he would have been a couple yards away. I wanted that for him. And we said we're going to come out here and we're going to throw it deep. And on the first deep ball, we hit Carlos Henderson. He dislocates 4 toes on the play, all 4 of them, well, 4 of the 5, and has to miss the rest of the game, and yet nobody blinked. You know what I mean? They just kept playing. Nobody blinked. Nobody said, oh, no, what are we going to go do? There's our deep threat. We hit Trent deep. We hit Paul deep. We hit, a number of players. We hit Kenneth Dixon deep. Hit a number of players down the field. But those players went out and competed and won some one-on-one matchups tonight, which is what Arkansas State made this game with the way they played defense, was a one-on-one matchup.
Coach in the back, up in the bright lights. You mentioned earlier this season that Louisiana Tech as a program will move forward when the administrators buy in, when you guys buy in, when the fans buy in. What did you think of the fan turnout here in New Orleans?
I thought the fan base was great. They were loud, they were noisy, they were in it. What a great opportunity, and I certainly probably dropped the ball by not thanking the people in New Orleans, not thanking R&L Carrier for being a sponsor of this bowl game and giving us the opportunity to do it, the New Orleans Sports Commission that helps put all this together, and definitely our fan base that turned out in New Orleans for a weekend to watch a very special group of young men put on this uniform one last time and represent this university. And it's a fairy tale ending to many of these players to be able to finish on this note in New Orleans, a great city with great people, and to be able to win this bowl game. I'm just really proud of these players and see the energy and the excitement in their voice. And we're going to celebrate this one for a little while. Everybody's going to have a couple weeks off until we come back to school on January 4th. And on January 4th, we'll come back and we'll start getting ready for the 2016 Bulldog football team. But until then, we're going to celebrate the 15 Bulldogs for a little bit and the things that they were able to accomplish this year. So thank you to our fan base. Thank you, R&L Carrier. Everybody I met from that organization is first class from the top all the way down. And everybody in the city of New Orleans has been unbelievable. This is a great bowl experience. I've been very fortunate to coach and to be in this profession for over 30 years. And I've had a chance to go to a lot of bowl games. And this one, with the way they entertain, the things they do, and what the city provides for these young men, it has been a phenomenal experience and a great way to end a hard-fought season.
Thank you, Coach.